Hello everyone, so today I'm going to teach you how to make a saddle stitch notebook like this one. It's really easy to make and all the materials are really inexpensive as well, and you can buy everything you need from a stationer's or art shop. They make really great presents and I'm going to give this one to one of my friends. I'd really love to hear what you think, and as always my social networking links are in the bottom bar below if you'd like to follow me. To make your saddle stitch notebook, you will need a ruler, a pencil, a needle, some scissors, some embroidery thread. Now you could also use wax cotton that professional bookbinders use, and you can buy that from most art shops. But I've gone for embroidery thread today because I think it's really easy to get hold of. It's a little bit more inexpensive than waxed cotton, and it also comes in lots of different colours as well. You're going to need something to make the cover of your book, and I've gone for a wallpaper sample, but you can use any sort of thin card or thick paper that you like the look of. It can be plain or patterned. And you're also going to need approximately 8 sheets of paper for your interior pages. Now I've just used normal cartridge paper today. I've trimmed my pages down to A5, so the finished notebook will be A6 size. So I'm just going to fold the interior pages and the cover in half. Don't worry about being too neat with this because we're going to be doing some trimming once the notebook's actually finished. So then grab your cover and fold that in half as well. And then you can place your interior pages inside your cover. And you can see that there's a little bit of difference in size, but that's actually totally fine as we're going to be doing lots of trimming. So now you've got your pages folded and together, it's time to clip them. Now you need to clip them to make sure that they're really secure. Now I'm using bend back clips, I think that's what they're called. I might totally be making that up actually. But any sort of clip will do, so you can use paper clips, or if you have any little bulldog clips, that'd be great. It's just to make sure that all the pages are together and secure before you actually start doing any sewing. So now we are going to do a teeny little bit of maths, but don't worry, it's super easy and I'm awful at maths, so if I can do it, you can. So the book I'm making today is 15 centimetres high, and I'm going to find the midpoint of that, which is 7.5. So I've marked 7.5 on my book here, and then each hole is going to be 2 centimetres from that point. So I've marked 2 centimetres here, and then another 2 here, and then on the other side as well. So that's our 7.5 mark, and I've gone 2 centimetres this way, and then a further 2 centimetres. So you should end up with 5 points. So now we are going to use our needle to poke the holes for our stitches, and we're going to use those points that we've just made with our pencil. So using your needle, you're going to poke through all of the pages, and make sure that the holes that you're poking are bang on the spine, so the fold that we made when we were folding all the pages. And you're going to poke through all 5 holes, all the way through, and this just makes it a lot easier to get your needle through when we're actually going to be doing the sewing. So you need to make sure that you've got at least twice as much thread as the length of your book before you start, because the last thing you want to do is run out of thread. So you're going to start from the middle hole that we made, and you're going to go from the inside of the book outwards. It might be a little tricky to get out. And you're going to pull your thread all the way through and leave a tail like that. So the next hole you're going to sew through is this one here, so the next one along. So I'm just going to flip the book over. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I know my hand's going to be in the way quite a lot, so I'm sorry about that. So you can just see that the needle's going to come through that hole there. There we go. Pull it all the way through. And then you're just going to follow on and sew through the next hole, which is that one there. So pull the needle through. Fantastic. So then we're going to flip the book over and we're going to go through that hole. so the one next to it. So you're going to start to actually go back on yourself a little bit. So I'm just going to start pulling to make sure that the stitches are really nice and tight. And then you're going to go through the middle one again. So this set of stitches should look a little bit like that. So we're going to carry on with the stitching for this half of the book, so the top half. So I'm going to flip the notebook over so you can see, and the next hole is the one up here, so the one next to the middle hole. So we're going to stitch through that one. And then again, just as before, we're going to carry on to the next hole along. There we go. And then we're going to go back through this one here. So we're going to go back on ourselves again. And then finally we're going to go through the middle hole. So once you have pulled your thread through the centre hole, we are going to take our needle and create a knot. So I'm just going to slip my needle through the stitch next to the centre. It can be either side of the stitch, it doesn't matter. So we're going to pull the thread through and make a loop like that. And then we're going to bring the needle round and pop it through that loop. And then you're just going to pull, which will create a knot. And you want to make sure the knot is as close to the centre hole as possible. Fantastic. So I've just put my needle back through the centre hole again, and I'm pulling the thread. And I'm doing this so that I can actually pull the knot from the outside to the inside of the book, which makes it look a lot neater. You don't have to do this stage. It does take a little bit of welly. That's an English word, sorry. Some people might not understand what that means. It takes a little bit of strength, I should have said. And now you can see that that knot's actually disappeared into the binding. And your inside looks really neat as well. So the last thing to do is just tie a knot of these two tails. Now I've trimmed off the excess thread, and we're just going to tie a normal knot to make sure everything's nice and secure. Perfect. And I'm just going to trim that off a little bit. I like some thread to be showing. I think it proves it's handmade, but you can actually cut right up to the knot if you would prefer. So that is our stitching done. So this is our notebook so far. I just wanted to show you the stitching. Hopefully you will be able to see it okay. If I just open up the book a little bit. So you can see that it looks really neat, it's dead on the spine. Hopefully yours looks like that too. It already looks like a pretty good notebook to me, but I'm not very happy with the pages sticking out a little bit, so I'm going to trim those now. So please excuse my really messy cutting mat, I'm sure you can see it's pretty well loved. So to trim your notebook, you're going to need a metal ruler rather than a plastic or a wooden one, and just a basic Stanley knife or scalpel. You can buy these in any art shop, so you don't have to spend a fortune on them. So to trim your notebook, you just need to line your ruler up, make sure that it's straight, so you can do any measuring if you're a perfectionist. And it's important not to try to go through all the pages at once, as you're probably going to end up tearing the pages. So take it really slowly, don't press down too hard, and you're probably going to do it a page at a time. So I've got my cutting knife here and my ruler all buffed up to the edges. So you can see that just a few pages are coming off at a time. And I'm going to go through all of those, and I'm going to trim all the way around my notebook until I'm happy with how it looks. So I've finished trimming the pages of my notebook now, and as you can see the edges are really neat and trimmed down. I think I'm actually going to give this to one of my friends as a present, as I've made so many of them. I definitely don't need any